Hey guys, Deep Cut Books. Today we are going to talk about Philip Kerr's Esau. 1995, got this book when I graduated high school. I'm dating myself, I know. Anyway, I've had this book for years. Before we get to the book though, I have a question for you. I want to know what you guys think about Bigfoot. Do I hope Bigfoot is real? Yes, I do. Am I convinced there's a giant hairy ape or hominid roaming the forest who is a master of camouflage and is able to defeat all of our cameras and technology and smartphones? No, I'm not. That being said, I will fully confess I'm a huge fan of all the shows, all the Expedition Bigfoots, the Finding Bigfoots, whatever documentary comes on Netflix or Amazon. I am fully willing to suspend belief for an hour or two, debating whether or not the big guy's real, letting the host sway me with whatever theory or proof they seem to want to offer. More often than not, though, when I watch these shows, it's usually with the boys, and the boys and I end up theorizing on how they're faking all the footage, how they could have faked the camera tricks, doing that way more than actually joining in the fantasy and the bandwagon that we should give, Bigfoot, endangered species rights in the northwest of the United States. But despite that, the kids are always going to ask. They always ask, is Bigfoot real? Are UFOs real? The ghosts, the whole paranormal spectrum. For all these questions, I have the same answer, regardless of the legend. Is Bigfoot real? No idea. There's no proof for or against. The real question is, would the world be cooler if things like Bigfoot, ghosts, goblins, UFOs really did go bump in the night? I would say unequivocally that would be an absolute yes, right? No idea. If anybody has any proof though, hit me up. Drop it in the comments and then DM me. And regardless of where you are, I will come check it out because I want to know about the aliens. I want to know about the Bigfoots. And if there are ghosts and goblins and you got proof of that, more than happy to discuss that too. I'll bring you on. We'll go on live and we'll talk about it together. And we'll make the discovery of a lifetime. In the meantime though, we're going to stick to the books. We're going to talk about Philip Kerr, Esau. Philip Kerr's journey into chasing Yeti in the Himalayas himself. An American paleoanthropologist, when confronted by intriguing evidence, joins an expedition to the Himalayas where she and her former lover, of course, if you're going to do anything that's on a world groundbreaking scale, chasing down a mysterious legend that has evaded capture for the last thousands of years, you want to bring your ex along, because that would definitely keep the stress level down. Anyway, her and her ex-lover, Jack Furness, the world's greatest mountaineer, face death, danger, and adventure as they chase the elusive Yeti around in the snow in Nepal. Had this book for going on 25 years? No, I don't know. I'm a liberal arts major, so me and math really don't get along. But seems about right. About 25, 30 years. Thoroughly enjoyable read, and I will tell you why. This book started with, I love the idea of the Yeti. I think everyone does. I love even more the idea of the adventure, the chase, taking a little shred of fossilized evidence and charging across the planet to see if you can be the one. You can be the one to make that discovery of a lifetime, the ultimate scavenger hunt. That's kind of what we all read for, right? Jack and Stella. Jack Furness is the mountaineer extraordinaire, and Stella is the American paleoanthropologist. She's a smart one. Women are always the smart one in the relationship. She and Jack put aside their differences and go streaking across the world, trying to find the Yeti and bring him out for everybody to see and for them to take credit for. They're not very bashful about that either. Regardless, those two characters are really well drawn. Kerr creates a great dynamic between the two of them. Fair amount of tension. The locales, the setting chosen for it, the Himalayas, the Nepal region, very austere environment, coupled with the action and adventure. It's the perfect book to disappear into. It's escapist fiction at its finest. I think that's why all of us read, right? We all want to go someplace else. If if I can go chasing a Yeti across a glacier in my mind before I fall asleep at night, why not? Sit on the beach, sweltering Georgia heat, and read about glaciers. It's probably kind of a nice way to pass the time. But that's pretty much it. It's a great departure for Kerr, and it is, again, this is why we love books. We love books to just take us off on a ride, and he keeps it up. He keeps the tempo up, he keeps the pace up, and it is a great disappearing act into another world. And it's Phillip Kerr. It's kind of a departure. It is an interesting departure for him. Phillip Kerr was mostly known for a spy series, the Bernie Gunther series, which admittedly I never got to. When I knew Phillip Kerr, it was from The Grid and Esau. But it's an interesting jump for him. This one followed The Grid, which was a techno thriller about an automated building that starts killing its tenants. We're gonna get into that one down the road. But it's so he goes from spies to techno thriller, and then he's like, let's go chase a Yeti, right? As you do. But it's just interesting. It's, the guy has so much success in this spy arena, and you see so many successful authors just stay in their box and ride that wave. And Phillip Kerr is one of those guys that's just like, all right, the spy genre, nailed it. Let's go try techno thriller. That was fun. Let's go chase a Yeti. Why not? It's just interesting to see them try out other genres, and I really respect that when authors do it. And I can tell you that it's interesting. It's not something I've ever intentionally done, but I do see myself that I tend to, throughout my 8 novels, I've rotated from horror to crime to fantasy to back to horror, back to crime, back to thriller, and I've just kind of rotated through. And every time I do it, it's kind of like, you get a break. You get to cleanse your palate of that world that you built in your crime thriller. Shift channels, go to a different channel and write a horror. Shift channels again, let's go write Die Hard in a Castle with Wraith of Sheltermount. It's a great way to just change things up, and it keeps things kind of fresh, and it kind of helps you from falling in a rut. So I respect it. I love what he did, and again, I've had this book 30 years. I think it's fantastic that I've had this on my shelf for as long as I have, and it's actually survived, which is kind of nice. You've seen some of my other books. As far as Kerr himself, product of Edinburgh, Scotland. Studied law at the University of Birmingham before taking I'm guessing, Fast and Furious level slide into marketing. I didn't want to be a lawyer anymore, which I can understand. If you've ever had to focus on reading law, it's really boring. So instead, he went into marketing as an advertising copywriter before he became one of those rare individuals that was able to reach escape velocity and actually feed himself by writing books, being able to make money based off the strange ideas you come up with your head. So he is one of those very rare individuals that we're all kind of jealous of. You can admit it. He was a great multi-genre writer, had a great run with the Gunther series, with The Grid, several other books, a bunch of other books, until unfortunately passing away in 2018. Esau, though, is my favorite. I've got The Grid. You can see it behind me right there. We'll get to that at some point. But for today, as far as Esau, let's see what the critics think. And again, me and critics, right? But I'll tell you when they're fair. If I see a critical review that's fair, I'm going to share it. And they played it pretty well for Kerr. They respected his jump, his willingness to try something else. So from Publishers Weekly, British author Phillip Kerr follows up The Grid with an accomplished hybrid of science and Spielberg. There's a win. They're going to compare you to Spielberg, right? In which readers journey to a pristine mystical locale high in the Himalayas. Daredevil feats of mountaineers, impossible cold, endless miles of glacier and snow, and the little visited Annapurna Sanctuary make this novel a marvelous armchair travelogue, complicated yet visceral thriller in which monsters, human and otherwise, roam the earth and hunt each other. Convincing scientific and technological details will have readers believing easily in Yetis and other wonders of the world. You haven't told me yet, put it in the comments if you think Bigfoot's real. Apparently, according to Publishers Weekly, this is a very convincing book, despite the fact it's fiction and a thriller. Like I like to do, Through my research, I found the praise, which I think was very fair. Like I said, this is great escape fiction. Nobody, Phillip Kerr, willing to jump genres and try different things. And the world he created with Esau, fantastic. I thought it was very balanced, very efficient writing. Characters are well drawn out. The action's fun. The adventure is just wide. It's let's see. Let's talk scope. Adventure is just big, right? If it's the Himalayas, the glaciers, taking you out of your comfort zone and taking you to a place you're probably never going to visit. That's why we read. We just love disappearing into these fantasies, and this is exactly what Esau does. So we've looked at the pros. We looked at the critical reviews. Let's look at the 1-star reviews because they are always entertaining. So, first one, speaking of, on Amazon, as far as all the reviews that went into measuring the quality of Esau according to consumers, 3% of those ended up with 1 stars. And there was a bunch. Not 1 stars, but a bunch of reviews. So these are the minority, but I want to give everybody their due. Let's get a balanced view. So 1 star. Having a hard time believing this is written by the same author of the wonderful Bernie Gunther series, all of which I've read and rated very highly. This, in contrast, is pulp fiction at its worst. An implausible story, dressed up by science, a set of one-dimensional characters, that's not true, and a complete absence of tension, not true. A book I could have put down at any point without a second thought, but because it's allegedly by Kerr, I guess it's ghostwritten by Kerr, I skimmed it to the laughable ending. 1/2 star score for the great author so letting us down. This highlights the danger of reading outside your genre. When you're somebody like Kerr and you go from writing spy stuff to the techno thriller and grid to Esau and the other times that he kind of jumps around, there's going to be people that don't follow you. And apparently these people sometimes get mad. And when they get mad, they write reviews just because you wrote something that wasn't that nice in the box spy novel that they're used to. We'll see how else he pissed people off. Hard to read for me. Just been disappointed. This is a new review. Hard to read for me. Just been disappointed by Max Brooks's devolution and was looking for another Bigfoot book, so I picked this one up. Anybody else find it ironic that this guy was looking for a Bigfoot book but was disappointed because he found one that just happened to be fiction and a thriller despite his interest in a fictional legendary creature? Some of these guys take this Bigfoot stuff very seriously. Anyway, I got one more. Like many others, I had read other Kerr books and so chose this one. From the very beginning, there were egregious errors in technology, referencing a U-2 being made to fly low, GPS navigators as two-way voice communicators, and an RSVP symbol in an email, so the sender wouldn't have to break confidence by typing in an address. The reviewer tried to ignore these massive problems, but it was just too much. And they started to pile up, and it was too many unbelievable and silly plot devices. He quit halfway through because of an RSVP symbol in an email. How do you know? I don't know. I've seen a bunch of stuff on different email services, but I can see how details like that would just ruin a book for me, especially the email part. This one, let's see. This book begins as preposterous, entices with some scientific information and a brief romance, then quickly becomes ridiculous science fiction. That being said, the reviewer still made it 220 pages in, hoping to, I don't even know what this means, Jumar out of the crevasse called absurd. I don't know. Continues. I seldom write reviews, but this one obviously wasted my precious time. Don't let it waste yours. I paraphrased that review. First of all, he finds a book he doesn't like, but still reads 220 pages of it. I'm a very slow reader. That takes a minute. But doesn't want to waste his precious time, but writes a 700-word 1-star review. That's a lot of energy for something you didn't like. But I imagine there's some kind of self-fulfillment there. I don't know what that is. Let's see. That's there's a couple more. They weren't that great. So I'm gonna. It's a lot of, pretentious in some, and kind of sad in others. But the thing that's consistent to me is the amount of people who read stuff, don't like it, and then write an essay about it. Whereas the people who write the 4 stars, the people who really like Esau, Kerr, and all his bibliography, which there are way more people than the 3% that we're talking about, they'll write like 3 lines. And they'll be like, love this book. It was so much fun. Stella's the best, whatever. But the people who will put the 1-star review in and then take the time to write like 700 words, doesn't seem like they care that much about their time. Anyway, that's Esau. Gave you the good, gave you the bad. I don't know how much stock you put into the bad. It was like 3% of the reviews. I just find them entertaining. So I'm going to share them with you. Anyway, let's go chase Yeti across the glaciers in the Himalayas. I'm not going to tell you how it ends. Fantastic adventure book with something to disappear into. So you can still get it. You can still get it widely. I can't say widely. I always say wildly. Widely available pretty much anywhere you want to get your favorite books. I would humbly suggest, though, if I could, independent bookstores. They could always use the help, and most of the time they're way better at customer service than the chain stores are. But that's it. Phillip Kerr's Esau. Before I go, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Also, check out my books, Blood Red Ivory and Overmatch, my 2 opening Ty Benhoff novels, Homicide in Zimbabwe, and A Relentless Pursuit of Some Chinese Spies Across the mean streets of Indonesia. Indonesia's a serious place. Don't call it silly. Anyway, fantastic action, tension, and Ty Benhoff is one of my favorite characters. He's a mix of all the jokers that I've worked with over the last 20 years in law enforcement. All the best parts, anyway. Well, best for me. Most of the time, supervisors would have hated all those parts that I added in him for these books. But anyway, go check him out. And as soon as you check Ty out, I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will talk to you again very soon.